for that very kind and congenial welcome to the stage. You guys sitting there a little bit. You guys came. I walked all the way from O'Fallon, Missouri. My feet are hurting. Don't hate on O'Fallon. Don't hate on O'Fallon. She's like, O'Fallon, what is he doing out there? No, I love it. It's peaceful. No, so I thank you all for coming. I mean, you could be anywhere, right, today, but you've chosen to be here with us. And I always like to say that I feel like this is more for me than you. Every time I'm blessed to be on stage and do what I love doing, I always learn so much from the people that I call myself pouring into. Because afterwards I get to meet new people and I learn so much about myself. So I'd like to say in advance, thank you for being here. So give yourselves a round of applause. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about several things. This is the live, there we go, get this started. There's so much going on here. If you don't, I got to do some tidying up over here. I got some books that I'm going to give out for free. Yeah, people like free things, right? Can I get cheese on that? No. So, we're going to talk about, this is the Head, Hands, Heart, right, seminar. I'm going to start up top. I'm going to start in the head. Because before you even entertain doing something physical, you have to get your mind right. Is that correct? And to get your mind right, we have to understand how to properly live, how to love, and how to matter. So I want you to repeat after me. Today we will.
Today we will.
We will live.
We will live.
Today we will.
Today we will.
Love.
Love.
And today we will.
Today we will.
Matter.
Matter.
Oh, that sounds so nice. So let's get started. Born in 1880 in the northwest corner of Alabama, she would meet every president from Grover Cleveland, and the presidential debates and the elections was in it. So a little history for you. Cleveland was actually the only president to actually win 4 terms, lose, and then come back and win a second term. The only president. So a little trivia for you. But she was the only person to actually meet everyone from Grover Cleveland to Lyndon B. Johnson. She would frequent the White House because they'd invite her about perspective on, social policies and social things. She helped out with the women's suffrage movement. And even at the end, when Lyndon Johnson, he actually pinned the Congressional Medal of Freedom on her. It's the highest medal that any civilian could get. He looked at her and said, "You're the most selfless person I've ever met. The most selfless person." Her name was, come on historians, her name was, I'll give you a hint. If you were to dig in your pocket and you had a quarter, you may find her on the back.
Susan B.
That is not right. But you know what? I love how you said it with so much conviction. She was like, Susan B. Anthony. Survey says, no, I'm joking. Please continue to participate. I won't call you out. Her name was Helen Keller. Okay? Right. So just think about this. How could someone that was deaf and blind have such a massive influence on all these presidents, on the state she lived in, and also the world? How can someone deaf and blind? I mean, she had every excuse to actually be down in the dumps and just be discouraged on her situation. How do you think she could do that? See, I believe, unequivocally, without a doubt, Helen Keller, she knew how to live, she knew how to love, and she knew how to matter. So when you actually choose, and when you meet your Maker, and you're faced with these questions, and you're laying there, and your Maker says to you, as your life goes before your eyes, you replay these small conversations that you had, did you live? When your Maker says to you, did you love? When your Maker says to you, did you matter? You can say, yes, I did. So I can use any text right now to prove my point. And we're going to talk about living. Say living.
Living.
We're going to talk about how to live. We're going to peel these onions back. I can use any passage. It can come from the Quran, the Torah, the Dead Sea Scrolls. It doesn't matter. You'll find something very similar. I happen to be a Christian, so we'll look into the Bible. Okay? And in the Bible, Genesis 13, it says this. The Lord said to Abram after he had parted from Lot, "Look around from where you are to the north and to the south, to the east and to the west. And everything around you will be yours and your offspring forever." See, I'll say that again. The Lord said to Abram after he had parted from Lot. Keyword, after. let's emphasize departed. See, after he had departed from Lot, he was given favor and blessing. But see, a lot of us in here, we also have to let go of Lot.
Amen.
Right? We have to let go of Lot. To live life, to enjoy fitness, to enjoy health, we have to first let go of Lot. See, Lot for me could be something completely different than this young lady here. Sometimes we have to let go of a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of addiction, a lot of financial woes. We all have to let go of Lot in some capacity. Simon Bailey said it best when he says, the greatest tragedy in life is not to have blindness like Helen Keller. He said the greatest tragedy in life is to have sight without vision. That is so true. When we have Lot that constantly bears us down and impedes us to progress, we cannot truly fulfill what life has for us to offer. We have to let go, and then it stands right there on fertile ground for us to actually hold on to. There was a time a friend of mine that just walked in late, thank you, Twana. She can attest to one of these stories. I was hired in a company called Connick Minolta, and they hired me in to sort of shake things up to run this division. And they were like, oh, here's the guy, he's going to fire everyone. He's the VP's guy. Everyone was nervous. He's going to fire us all. So in our first meeting, something similar to this, I walked in and I did this. I had beautiful penmanship. And I said to them, I said, do you all understand how we're going to get from here to here? And just like you, they look like, what? They look very nervous. What'd you say?
Work hard.
Work hard? Sure.
Change.
Oh, look at you all. We got the mathematicians in the house. They were so nervous, they just looked with the big eyes. Like, please don't count on me. He can't see me. Right? And I said, hey, look, rest your mind. If you knew how to get from here to here, you would do it. I think deep down inside, if you knew how, you would. Okay? That's my job. I was hired here to get you from here to here. However, to get from here to here, like you said, you're going to have to change. And I said, very boldly, I'm going to change you or change you. And I was like, that's a trick statement? What's going on? And the key to this is that to get from here to here, it only takes two things. It takes willingness and desire. So when we're in our situation with Lot holding us back, the only way that we can actually get from A to B, where we are and where we want to be, is our desire to change and our willingness to change. They say that people only change for three ways. Say three reasons. And this is very unfortunate. But the first one, 10% of people change when they actually learn enough to change. Learn enough to change. This is the pursuit on education on their own. 10% of people change when they receive enough to change. Say receive enough.
Receive enough.
Okay? But 80% of people only change when they've been hurt enough to change. Right? I've been there, different facets of my life. We all have. But how can we actually grab onto our willingness and our desire so we don't have to be hurt to change? How low do we have to go to sacrifice so that Lot wins? We have to let go of Lot, okay? Now, I'm part of this. I'm a firm believer in sort of feeding yourself with knowledge on a daily basis. And I'm a part of this group called Life. And every month I get these different motivational books and CDs and texts to really keep my mind going. It's an awesome thing. And then this program, Life, they break down, it's a science of life, and they break it down into what's called the 8 F's, okay? That really are the pillars of one's life. And if you have something to write with, you can feel free to write these down because we're going to do a little exercise. The first F is faith. Write down faith. The second F is family. The third is friends. The fourth is finances. The fifth is freedom, your time. The sixth is following, your leadership and appeal, correct? And while we're here today, definitely, the seventh is fitness. And eighth is fun. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to just pick your top 4 priorities. Write down by the 8 F's, 1, 2, 3, 4. What are your top 4 priorities out of those on how you see it? Take a moment, please. Your top 4 priorities out of the 8 F's, the 8 pillars. Is it your friends? Is it your faith? Is it your family? Is it your fitness? Is it your following, your leadership? What is it? Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to think about the past 2 weeks of your life. Right? Now, 1 through 4, write down how you spent your time. How have you spent your time? Top 4 places where you spent your time. And it may not be some of the others that you selected. Please feel free to do so. The past 2 weeks, did you find yourself spending more time with your friends? Did you find yourself spending more time with your fitness? Making money? Worrying about money? Your finances? Are we good? Yeah? Can I get a little nod? Just a nod. There you go. Easy nod. Nice. Didn't even hurt, did it? I just worked you out right there. I'm good. All right, so please tell me, did anyone perfectly match up? Raise your hand if it perfectly matched up. 2, 3, 4. Nice. Okay. Raise your hand if it was all over the place. Pretty much. Yeah, I'm like that too. Right? So just think about this. We're talking about living life. And we understand that time and priority is the most important thing. Shouldn't we spend time with our priorities? Time is like money. Would you ever go out on a trip and spend money on a trip before you pay your mortgage? Right? And you wouldn't. Okay. We shouldn't. Well, my cousin, last week, I'm like, girl, why did you do that? All right. Well, how about this? Let me hit home. We know how Sprint and Verizon will cut your phone off really quick. So how many of you all would not pay your Sprint or Verizon bill, right? Okay. No. But we can come to an understanding with you spend your time, you should spend your time where your priorities lie. Right? Because time is like money. And when you start living life to the fullest, you actually prioritize your life and you spend time there. You can't say to your woman, baby, I love you, you're my priority, you mean the most to me, but all your time is spent at work. It doesn't match up. It's very hypocritical. You can't say, you know what, I'm all about health and fitness. That's one of my number 1 priorities. It's all about fitness. Well, when are you going to go? Well, you know what happened was I sprained my ankle and my cousin. You can't do that. You have to start your day with the end in mind. And you have to say, what does my day look like? Every action, every thought, and everything I do, thank you, Wailing Prophet, everything I do is going to lead me one step closer to my priority, to my goal, to my vision. So many times we live in a world and we have these 6x9 realities that light allows us to have when we can really have so much more. I have an acrostic for the word live. L-I-V-E. The first one is let go. L, let go. I is indulge in what makes you happy. To live life, you have to indulge in what makes you happy. If it's a priority, you have to do it. You have to put it on the calendar and make it happen. V is have the proper vision. You have to have not a 6x9 vision. You have to have a 70x80. The world is yours. And E, you have to expect to have a powerful day. You have to expect it. You have to wake up every morning and understand and profess it with your mouth that you're going to have an amazing day. You have to speak it. So those are some things that we can do to start living life. Next week I'm actually doing a workshop, a Live, Love, Matter workshop at the Empowerment Center, where we actually have workbooks and we really dig down into this. So if you're interested in actually attending, let me know afterwards. But these are just the top line principles, but we'll dig into it next week. So I'm going to brush over love. May not get to matter, but I'm going to brush over love because so many people, let's talk about love, right? Let's talk about this thing called love. So how do we love? Do we have any husband and wives in the house? I am so going to pick on you right now. So, sir, I'm not going to pick on you because all men get, as Chris Rock said, the big piece of chicken. We don't get much. So, ma'am. Excuse me, sir. All right. So can you please share with us, why do you love that man whose lap you're sitting on? Why do you love him? He's like, girl, it better be good. Why do you love him?
I love Derek Player because he is my best friend.
Sure.
And I've been with him since I was 16 years old, and I'm 25, so that's 28 years.
Nice.
I love him because he loves me. I love him because he handles me. I love him because he is a man of God, and he is a good man to our sons. We have a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old. And I love every hair on his head. You know, he is my soulmate. That's why I love him.
Now, sir, does that suffice? Is that okay? Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, you pass. Guards, you can stay back. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so, you know what? Most people, 99% of people would actually answer very similar. And that's true. If you think about the people you love, if it's a child, if it's a spouse, we always describe the marginal utility that we get from that person. He's a good provider, the security, good to our sons, great man of faith. These are all things that we actually get and we feel from that person. So how do we love, right? So there's a gentleman, an unknown guy, there was an unknown quote that I read, and it said that love is the world's most perishable commodity. I thought it was really profound. I'm like, now who said that? But love is the world's most perishable commodity. And the reason why I bring that up and ask for you to, respond is because if we attach our love to our marginal utility, our love will ebb and flow. Right? Because you'll attach your love and your feeling to how the person makes you feel. So when he doesn't have a six-pack like he used to, right? When she doesn't cook like she used to, right? That love will ebb and flow. However, how do we truly love? When we pursue the love that God has for us first, and we start to then love ourselves a little stronger, we can then love others more profoundly without looking for anything in return. So regardless of what we're getting back, we can always give and experience that love. That martyr type of love, that agape type of love, the love that when God gave His only begotten Son type of love. See, it is thoroughly wrong to place a high expectation on someone that we love to give us perfect love. You cannot expect that man to be free and give you perfect love because he's human. And you can't expect the same of her. But if you actually understand that God has a deeper love for you first, you will accept Him for His imperfections. And that's what we really have to do. I was actually overcoming some of a heartache with a friend of mine. Isn't that right? And I have to let go of frustration and say, I still love her, even though what she did. Right? But it's true. When we tap into that selfless type of love. Tony Robbins said, and I really love this, he said, where is it? Here it is. Some of the biggest challenges in relationships come from the fact that most people enter relationships in order to get something. They're trying to find someone who makes them feel good, he said. In reality, the only way a relationship will really last and work is if you see your relationship as a place to give and not to take. That's pretty profound. So when we're talking about how do we love, how do we truly love, that's what we're aspiring to do. To give selflessly without looking at anything in return. So I have an acrostic for the word love for you. L, learn to forgive. It is impossible to love someone if you're holding a grudge. You have to learn to forgive. O, open your heart. There's a lot of people who are good lovers, but they don't know how to be loved. You have to open your heart. V, you have to value the people in your life. If one of your priorities is family and friends, you must value them. So many people will give the time of day to a complete stranger than the person that they love because we take them for granted. So V, value the people in your life. And E, the most important one, every day in everything you do, put God first. So that's how we scratch the surface on loving. I have one story on mattering, and that's my time. But like I said, my quick commercial, feel free to reach out to me. We're doing a Live, Love, Matter workshop to really dig into this, have nice discussions next Saturday at the Empower Institute, okay, from 10 to 2. So how do we matter? I had a wrestling coach, his name was Lee Grubbs. Awesome guy, right? He's all about 135 pounds with boots on, wet, okay? He had this little crackly voice, and he loved to eat brownies. So before we actually wrestle, before I go out on the wrestling mat, I'd run out, and he'd stop me, always. And he'd grab me, and he'd say, Dwayne, because he had this raspy voice, he chewed tobacco. Win, lose, or draw. I want that guy to scratch his head and say, who was that guy? Right? And it really didn't make sense to me. Right? I used to like get, I'm like, yeah, who was that guy? Smacking my head, I'm going to turn this dude up. Who was that guy, right? But it dawned on me later, he didn't care if I won, if I lost, or if it was a draw. He wanted that guy to say, who was that guy? I never want to face them again. I don't want to be. But what if? How do we matter? How do we matter? Not this big scale. How do we matter on a daily basis? What if we do the exact same thing? And regardless of if we meet someone for a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, we leave them better than we found them. So regardless of the connection and the time, even if you meet someone today for this workshop, you leave them better than you found them. And who was that gal? Right? Some people say you add and multiply in their lives, and not you take away and subtract, like Tony Robbins was talking about. In every person you meet, are you leaving them better than you found them? That's how you start to matter exponentially in people's lives. Now, don't get me wrong, you can write big checks, feel free to slide one in my pocket. Right? You can give money, you can do those things, but the greatest gift you can give someone, the greatest gift that you can give anyone, is faith in them when they don't have faith in themselves. So please look at your neighbor right now in closing and repeat after me. They were like, hey, yeah, this is your new friend right here. That's your new friend. All right, repeat after me. And you need to say it with conviction. Say conviction.
Conviction.
All right. To grow and change my life.
To grow and change my life.
Starts with the desire.
It starts with the desire.
To change others.
To change others.
And if I don't, smack me.
Smack me.
No. Look, she's like, I don't know you. You better not lay your hands on me. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Please understand that to live and love and matter in your life, it starts with the desire to change others, because a lot of times God, He hides your blessings and favor in other people. So with that being said, God bless you. Thank you.